can a couple of tablespoons of apple cider vinegar every single day improve your health? Well, apparently so. I was really skeptical about the evidence behind vinegar and whether it can actually lead to improvements in your blood glucose levels, lower your cholesterol, lower your blood pressure, and even improve your weight. But there is some evidence behind it. A meta-analysis of clinical trials found that anywhere between 10 and 30 mils of good quality apple cider vinegar every single day, and I'm going to talk to you about what that actually means, was found to lower blood glucose levels and insulin levels after a meal, and even improve the longer term markers of metabolic health like HbA1c, which is basically glycated hemoglobin, and it gives an indication of your average blood glucose levels over the preceding couple of months. That was pretty astounding to me because I didn't think there was going to be any evidence whatsoever. We'll go into the mechanisms a little bit later as well. The other thing that it might be useful for is cardiovascular health. Now, in terms of blood pressure or raised blood pressure are one of the biggest concerns when it comes to your risk of cardiovascular disease, your risk of strokes and heart attacks. And just, again, 30 mils of apple cider vinegar or white wine vinegar that has the same acetic acid level has been shown to significantly reduce your systolic and diastolic measures of blood pressure. So systolic is the higher number that you find when you do a blood pressure recording with your family physician or your GP. So if it's 130/90, for example, 130 is your systolic number and 90 is your diastolic number. And this paper, which was published in 2020, which was a meta-analysis, found that on average, they reduced your systolic and diastolic by 3.5 millimoles of mercury. That's quite a significant amount, and it actually led to the authors concluding that it could be an adjunct, i.e. a PAL, with your antihypertensive medications. I didn't think that was going to be possible either. The other thing in the same realm of cardiovascular health outcomes is cholesterol. So again, the same dose of 15 mils to 30 mils of good quality vinegar has been shown to lower total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol, which we look at as markers of your overall cardiovascular risk. So the higher your LDL cholesterol number, which remember is a biomarker of cholesterol. So it's the taxi or the ferry, the way in which you carry cholesterol around the body, not a type of cholesterol within itself. That number, if we lower it, correlates with lower mortality from cardiovascular disease. It correlates with lower incidence of heart attacks and lower incidence of strokes as well. That was pretty impressive. And again, I was super skeptical of it, but the evidence doesn't lie. It's pretty interesting to see that there are some studies demonstrating some improvements. The other thing that people are using apple cider vinegar for is weight loss. Now, in this instance, there is limited evidence, but there was a very recent randomized controlled trial looking at 120 young adults, and they were given either 0, 5, 10, or 50 mils of apple cider vinegar to take every day in the morning. And they found when looking at different markers of health like BMI, waist-hip ratio, and even total cholesterol levels as well, everything was significantly reduced. Now, it's one study, it's limited in terms of its generalizability. It was performed, again, in good conditions, double-blinded. They did all the right things, but it hasn't been replicated in other studies across the world. So again, it is limited evidence, but I was really surprised to see any effect whatsoever. Why on earth would we be seeing these pretty impressive results with just 30 mils of apple cider vinegar? Well, it seems that there are a number of different mechanisms as to why we might be seeing this. In terms of blood sugar, it can downregulate something called alpha amylase, which is an enzyme that converts your starchy carbohydrates into the more accessible, refined glucose products that circulate your bloodstream. So it stands to reason that if you inhibit that enzyme, you slow the release of those different glucose molecules that get absorbed into the bloodstream. And that slowed release would lead to a lower blood sugar level. Another thing that it can do is increase the uptake of sugar from your bloodstream into your skeletal muscle cells, where it can be used for energy and all the other metabolic processes that will require sugar for. So it's doing this thing on like a two-pronged approach, essentially. It's not only reducing the speed at which you get sugar into your bloodstream, it's also taking sugar out of the bloodstream and putting it into your cells. That's the proposed mechanism anyway. Another thing that it can do from the perspective of cholesterol is break down the fats and also prevent the creation of fats as well, something called lipolysis and lipogenesis as well. I've put a diagram up here that you can see on the screen, and you can see the various actions that vinegar may be having on different parts of the body, including your liver, your muscles, your intestines, and your fat cells as well. So what is so special about vinegar? Well, vinegar is sort of like the OG fermented product. It's made from fermentation of things like rice, wheat, even fruits, and things like grape. That's how you get red wine vinegar, for example. And what you have is anaerobic activity from yeasts creating the alcohol, and then the alcohol being acted on in aerobic conditions with oxygen by bacteria to break it down into the acid form. So you're getting this creation of acids, and the dominant acid that appears to have these benefits is acetic acid. So the two types of vinegar that are most well studied are apple cider vinegar that I've got here and white wine vinegar. And these have respective concentrations of acetic acid of anywhere between 5 and 7%. Other types of vinegars that you can find on supermarket shelves are not appropriate if you are thinking about experimenting for some of these benefits. So things like balsamic vinegar, or one of my favorites, Chikiang vinegar or black vinegar. These actually have sugar added to them, and sometimes some other things as well. So other syrups or glutinous rice, salts. These are not the same vinegars that you would find in those studies that demonstrated those benefits. So if you're looking to have a vinegar-based drink or a vinegar-based supplement, you want to go for these kind of vinegars. Another suggestion is that in creating the vinegars themselves, there are some reserved polyphenols. So things from the initial product in question. So whether that's the grapes or the apples, there are some polyphenols that are maintained in the product itself. Whether or not they're having an additive effect to the acetic acid is yet to be determined. My personal opinion is that that effect is going to be minimal. Most of the effect is going to be seen with the acetic acid itself.
Just a quick one. If you're enjoying this kind of content, you will love our free newsletter called Seasonal Sundays. It goes into depth on a seasonal ingredient every Sunday, and we talk about the nutritional medicine benefits, the research, and the culinary uses of an ingredient every Sunday with recipes included. You can get access to the free newsletter in the link just down below.
I don't want this to come across like a big sales pitch for vinegar, because there are some precautions and potential downsides that everyone should be aware of. The first thing is, don't shot this straight every single day. The reason why is because, guys, it's got acid. So it will be very detrimental to the minerals and the enamel of your teeth if you take this every single day. So be really, really careful about doing that. And also, particularly if you have esophagitis or gastritis, or you suffer with heartburn, definitely don't take this as a shot, and maybe don't even take this at all, because that can potentially exacerbate some of those symptoms or cause some of the symptoms. So make sure you are diluting this with plenty of water. In the majority of studies that we looked at, the when is either first thing in the morning, like in the case of the weight loss study, but also with meals or straight after meals. There is anecdote as to when you should be taking it as before your meals. Honestly, there isn't evidence either way. So whatever you're most comfortable with. I personally would take it with or after a meal, just to mitigate any effects of the excess acidity that you might find in your stomach. What are the things that I look for in a good quality vinegar? Because there are lots of different quality vinegars out there. Good brands are ones that probably have good practices. You'll see in a good vinegar, the mother, which is the products of fermentation on the bottom. So it'll be a little bit cloudy. Those are probably an indicator that it's gone through a proper fermentation process. And there is some suggestion that an aged vinegar has got more of the polyphenols from the pre-existing product in them that might have an additive effect on the benefits that we see as well. The other thing you want to be making sure of is the acidity level. So if you're getting something like white wine vinegar or an apple cider vinegar, you can pretty much guarantee that you're getting an acetic acid level of anywhere between 5 and 7%. but you might find in good quality products that they will exactly put the acetic acid level on the bottle. You also want to be looking for glass bottles. Because this is an acid, it can degrade any plastic, and that plastic will ultimately end up in your food. And if you're going to be doing this every single day, I would hasten to add that you should be using glass bottles. It's a lot more easy to recycle as well. Whether or not you want to try adding vinegar to your daily regime is completely up to you. But I would say that this is probably one of the minor things that are nice to have. And the major thing that you want to be doing to prevent all the things that I talked about with regards to the evidence base for acid or vinegar, metabolic health, cardiovascular health, and weight loss are overall diet quality, ensuring that you're exercising every single day. These are the major things, and also mitigating stress and improving your sleep quality. Those are the major things that you want to be making sure you're really dialing in. The acetic acid, the vinegar, all these nice little products, and then the supplements as well. These are nice to haves. These are the minors. They're going to give you marginal improvements. But if you want major improvements, focus on the big stuff first. And if you want to do a deep dive into any of those subjects, metabolic health, cardiovascular health, cholesterol lowering, and weight loss, we've got plenty of podcasts in the Doctor's Kitchen for that too. So if you are going to try this, make sure you dilute it, go for a good quality brand, make sure you're not having it if you've got gastritis or any of those issues, and have fun with it, enjoy it, and might have some benefits for you.
If you love that episode, you will love this one that I've done where I dive into olive oil. You're going to learn about the health benefits, what olive oil contains, and how to choose the best type of olive oil for healing properties.